Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Krishna dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. I welcome everyone to His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj's daily call. Today we are going to continue the series of Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 10th chapter, Lord Krishna's departure to Dwaraka, verse number 23. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for giving your valuable time and association to all of us this morning. You can please take over, Maharaj. Thank you. Maharaj, you are on mute, Guru Maharaj.
I hope the devotees are liking this particular chapter. It's one of the most intimate and sweetest chapters within this particular the Bhagavatam. It takes you deeper into the mood of devotion to Krishna. By studying very carefully the mood of his residents, his followers, his eternal associates, and the residents of Dwarka, along with the residents of Hastinapur, which he has just recently departed from. So this is a Bhagavatam, of course, is absolute. Everything about Bhagavatam is full of transcendental nectar, transcendental information. But in this particular section, we go deeper into the mood of loving relationships with Krishna, in the mood of separation, which is the mood emphasized strongly by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So here we have verse number 23 of the 10th chapter, the first canto. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Devayam Yad Padam Atra Surayo. Jitendriya Nirjita Mata Risvanayaha. Pasyanti Bhaktya Kalita Malatmana. Nave Sasadvam Parimarstum Arhati. Here is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose transcendental form is experienced by the great devotees who are completely cleansed of material consciousness by dint of rigid devotional service and full control of the life and the senses. And that is the only way to purify existence. I'll read that again. Here is the same Supreme Personality of Godhead whose transcendental form is experienced by the great devotees who are completely cleansed of material consciousness by dint of rigid devotional service and full control of life and of the senses. And that is the only way to purify existence. As it is stated in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord can be known in his real nature by dint of pure devotional service only. So it is stated here that only the great devotees of the Lord who are able to clear the mind of all material dust by rigid devotional service can experience the Lord as he is. So here, one should not think only the great devotees have access to this experience. One can become a great devotee also, and that is the whole process of devotional service, to bring the soul to its natural greatness in pure loving devotion to Krishna. Jitendriya means one who has full control over the senses. The senses are active parts of the body, and their activities cannot be stopped. The artificial means of the yoga process to make the senses inactive has proved to be abject failure, even in the case of great yogis like Vishwamitra Muni. Vishwamitra Muni controlled the senses by yogic trance, but when he happened to meet Menaka, a heavenly society woman, he became a victim of sex, and the artificial way of controlling the senses failed. In the case of a pure devotee, the senses are not at all artificially stopped from doing anything, but they are given different good engagements. When the senses are engaged in more attractive activities, there is no chance of their being attracted by any inferior engagements. So here's the key right here: keeping the senses engaged in devotional activity, then the inferior engagements of the material world cannot enter into the mind and senses of the aspiring devotee. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the senses can be controlled only by better engagement. So there's emphasis on these words here. So one has to give up the lower activity and take up the higher activity. One has to give up material activities and take the spiritual activities. And one has to give up those things which may seem to be pleasant to the senses, but are death to the soul. And one has to take to the activities of devotional service, although initially they may not be very attractive to the conditioned soul. Devotional service necessitates purifying the senses or engaging them in the activities of devotional service. Devotional service is not inaction. Anything done in the service of the Lord becomes at once purified of its nature. Material conception is due only to ignorance only. This is a nice statement. The material conception is due to ignorance only. When we deviate from Krishna, we come to the material ignorance, and that is this ever-changing material energy. There is nothing beyond Vasudeva, which refers to Krishna. Vasudeva conception gradually develops in the heart of the learned after a prolonged acceleration of the receptive organs. So after hearing and chanting for a sufficient amount of time, these organs, senses, the mind, the intelligence, the ears, the nose, various receptive organs become purified. But the process ends in the knowledge of accepting Vasudeva as all in all. In the case of devotional service, this very same method is accepted from the beginning, and by the grace of the Lord, all factual knowledge becomes revealed in the heart of a devotee due to dictation by the Lord from within. Therefore, controlling the senses by devotional service is the only and easiest means. Om Gyant Mirandasya Gyanatana Salakaya Chaksu Unnalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Ma Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasnaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pachadine Nirvisesa Sunyavari Pastyatya De Sitarine Panchakalpa Tarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Pe'evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. The devotional service is quite simple to describe, and even the process itself is simple, such as we like to hear about so many things in this world. We like to hear about great people who are accomplishing things in society, which may have some connection to our daily life. Or we like to hear about our friends and relatives and what they're doing and how we can become a part of that. We like to hear about by what we can do in our life to further our knowledge in the material activity. So we have a tendency to hear about different things, especially we have a tendency to hear about great people. So simply just take that same propensity and hear about Krishna. Hear about devotional service to Krishna. Choose and hear about those devotees who are serving Krishna in complete surrender. So all we have to do is just direct our attention away from hearing about the things in this world and direct our attention to hear about Krishna and his pure devotees, and in the process of devotional service. We like to eat, and prasadam is a form of transcendental foodstuffs. So we have a certain taste that we have acquired in this lifetime, maybe even in previous lives. So we look forward to enjoying those types of foodstuffs, but offer those foodstuffs to Krishna in devotion according to the rules and regulations as given by the acharyas. And then that food is no longer in the category of food anymore. It actually becomes devotional service. It elevates our consciousness, purifies the mind and the heart, and it attracts us to the process of devotional service. So the eating process cannot be stopped, but it has to be simply connected to spiritual food. And therefore, by eating only Krishna prasadam over a gradual part of time, you'll see that that prasadam alone elevates one's consciousness. It makes it easy and natural to understand spiritual topics. The downside of not eating prasadam is that it becomes very difficult and very hard for us to understand spiritual topics. So the process of eating, the process of glorifying. And we have to do things. So we do things in this material world. We take care of our friends, our family members, our body, our home, our possessions, and other things. Why not do things for Krishna? Find out from the spiritual master what one can do to serve the Lord, and then perform those activities according to his guidance and direction. And then we are using our senses, minds, intelligence, limbs of the body. We see the example in the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Ambarish Maharaj. He used every one of his senses in the service of the Lord. He used his legs for walking to the temple. He used his hands for massaging the bodies of the devotees. He used his eyes to see the beautiful form of the Lord. His nose to smell the tulsi leaf and sandalwood pulp offered to the lotus feet of the Lord. His tongue to taste the prasadam of the Lord. His ears to hear the glories of the Lord. And in this way, all of his senses were completely absorbed in devotional activities. And therefore, it was easy to become fully Krishna conscious. So we can also practice that using our mind, senses, intelligence, and all the facilities that we have, simply to engage in the service of the Lord. We have a natural attraction for Krishna. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Saruka Bunoi Shravanadi Siddhi Chitte Kodiye Udoi. It's not artificial to serve Krishna or to worship Krishna or even to love Krishna. All of these are natural inclinations to the soul's nature. And when engaged in, they automatically awaken. Just like, what would be an example? You see that a boy is attracted to a girl is attracted to a boy. But if there's no association, then the attraction doesn't really develop. But as soon as we put together the boy and the girl in the same place, then the association helps to awaken the attraction. Same with when we associate with Krishna in different ways in the process of devotional service, our attraction for Krishna will automatically awaken, because Krishna is the cynosure, or the ultimate principle of attraction for all living entities. It's not artificial to love Krishna or to serve Krishna. It's artificial to not serve Krishna and to have no interest in Krishna. That is considered to be artificial. It's like a person who is in a disease condition and cannot function on a normal level because of the disease. The disease is something artificial which covers the natural bodily healthy situation. But when we engage in healthy activities, the disease starts to dissipate and the health starts to return. Similarly, when we engage in different services to the Lord and the association with others who are also doing it, then our natural attraction for Krishna continues to develop. We see here we had a very powerful Muni, Vishwamitra Muni. He was a little bit envious of Vishishta Muni, because Shishta Muni was a powerful Brahmana who had defeated him. Vishwamitra Muni was a Kshatriya who was defeated by Brahma Tejas. And he was thinking that Brahma Tejas is greater than Kshatriya Tejas because he was defeated. He was a powerful Kshatriya. So he decided to perform austerities and penances to become a fixed up Brahmana. But in his artificial way of performing austerities, such as putting himself in extreme cold in the wintertime by merging his body into ice cold lake all the way up to his neck and meditating. And in the summertime, sitting in the middle of 7 fires surrounding him and meditating, he was practicing this austerity of being unaffected by the dualities of the material energy. But then again, the demigods saw what he was doing, decided to test his austerity, and they sent this heavenly society girl named Menaka. And as soon as he heard the ankle bells of Menaka, immediately his meditation was broken and he chased after Menaka. He wound up marrying her, and then a child was born called Shakuntala. Now, the story of Shakuntala is famous throughout the Indian continent. It's a great epic. And Shakuntala was the daughter of Menaka and Vishwamitra Muni. So after falling down from his austerities, he gave up his wife and he went back to the austerities again. But this time he was determined not to fall down. And then another society girl called Ramba, she came, and Ramba did the same thing that Menaka did, but this time, rather than becoming attracted, he became angry. And due to his power of austerity, he acquiesced the fire within his body and he burned Ramba to ashes. Soon as he did that, he lost all his austerity and fell down again, just like an ordinary person. So attraction and repulsion to the external energy is another form of attraction. One has to be fixed on the higher consciousness devotional service, where happiness and distress, honor, dishonor, heat and cold, and various types of dualities that one may come across in the material energy do not disturb the devotee's devotional service. They remain fixed in Krishna consciousness because Visayan vinivartante niharasya dehinam raso varjam raso pyaspat haram drisvam nivartante. And because they have experienced a higher taste, that they are fixed away from the lower taste, and the lower taste has no effect. So the example of Vishwamitra Muni is that he was not engaged in devotional service. He was trying to perform severe austerities. And austerities cannot simply bring one to the platform of detachment. They can help elevate one away from the material energy, but unless one takes to devotional service, then one is still subjected to the dualities of material energy. And this example is nicely explained here by Vishwamitra Muni. Eventually, he gave all of that up and took to devotional service, and later on he became a great yogi. But it took him quite a while to get to that point. We don't have to go the hard route. We can simply engage in devotional service and keep our mind and senses fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord and serve the Lord and hear about the Lord in the association with devotees and chant the Lord's glories like that. So we should take quality time to focus our attention on the Lord. We have so many books given to us by Srila Prabhupada and by the previous acharyas, such as Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and other great personalities, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And of course, we have a whole gamut of Jiva Goswami, of course, and has written more than 400,000 verses on the process of pure devotional service. And now, even within the ISKCON movement, certain senior devotees are churning the nectar of whatever's been given to us and taking it even to more higher understandings of pure devotional service. So these books are available and are meant to be read, not that we collect a nice library, put it on our shelf. We have the different colors of the books and we line them up in a certain way. And it looks very attractive in our house. We're meant to read the books, to study the books, to understand this knowledge and to practice it in the way that it's meant to be practiced. So this is the process of pure devotional service. And as we do that, we will get an attraction for Krishna more and more. And once your attraction for Krishna starts to develop, even in the slightest way, then you will always be eager to hear and chant the glories of the Lord more and more and more. That little awakening of attraction to Krishna comes by association with and service to great souls, which helps to purify our existence and pleases Krishna. When we serve great souls, then Krishna is very pleased, and he will also inspire us within the heart to take the hearing and chanting about him more and more. And he will also help to cleanse the heart as we continue in that process. So devotional service has to be continuous. It can't be occasional. It can't be whimsically done. It's not just some sentiment or some feeling. It is a great science of awakening the soul's natural love for Krishna according to a set of principles given to us by Krishna himself through his pure representatives, especially the spiritual masters. And in this case, Srila Prabhupada. Okay, so I'll stop here.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for such a wonderful class about devotional service. Thank you so much, and giving a nice example of Vishwamitra Muni, how he couldn't control his senses and fell down eventually. Yeah, thank you so much, Guru Maharaj, for such a wonderful class. And dear devotees, any questions or comments or realizations, any reflections, you can please go ahead, unmute yourself, and please turn on your cameras. Thank you so much.
Well, while they're waiting, I'll be right back. I have to shut one window in my house here.
Yes. Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Namrata Mataji.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisance. Glories to Srila Prabhupada, glories to your holy feet, all glories to the assembled devotees. Guru Maharaj, I wanted to ask, austerities performed as a result of jealousy or anger, does they fructify into bhakti, especially when we talk about Kali Yuga?
There's austerities in different modes. There's austerities in the mode of goodness. There's austerities in the mode of ignorance. Austerities in the mode of passion. Austerities in the mode of jealousy or anger are in the mode of ignorance. And they don't lead anywhere to devotional service. They just entangle one more in the material energy. One should follow the austerities as recommended by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. And then those austerities will elevate one towards bhakti.
So Guru Maharaj, when we heard about Vishwamitra Muni. In that pastime, I'm not able to totally understand whether his austerity was firstly in the mode of maybe ignorance or rajas, because he fell down because of the when he was performing austerity, Mohini Apsara came and he fell down. So
Yeah.
can we say?
Yeah, because his motivation was to achieve Brahma Tejas by severe austerity. Any austerity that is not connected to bhakti is on the material platform, and therefore it cannot bring about what we say transcendental consciousness. He was doing it in order to. He was defeated by Vishwamitra Muni, by Vishishta Muni. He was defeated by him. Then he understood that, I'm a powerful Kshatriya, but Brahma Tejas is greater. He wanted to become a Brahmin. He was a general with a great army. He gave all that up and wanted to become Brahmin because he understood Brahma Tejas was more powerful than Kshatriya Tejas. So in that enviousness or that competition to be better than to be the same as Vishwamitra Muni, or to achieve that state, he performed these austerities, but there was no devotional service in there. And unless there's devotional service, one remains on the material platform, and therefore one is still subjected to the dualities of material energy, which exactly what happened. No matter how severe the austerity is, if it's not connected to devotional service, it can't prevent one from falling down. That's why the austerities we perform, once we describe them, are ordinary activities, but only when they're coupled with devotional service do they actually have an effect. Materialists will perform austerities to elevate themselves a little bit better in the material world, but still their goal is material gain or material power. The politicians will give up many of their personal interests in order to campaign and accept various types of difficulties in order to get votes. Why? Because they want that office, so they perform that austerity. The student, he wants to go out with his friends and play, but he knows that I should stay home and school and study and get good marks in school. So he gives up his personal desires and takes on this the austerity of scholastic study so he can get a better position. These are material austerities.
Yes, Kumar, thank you. I think that quite clarifies. Even Karma Kandi people, many times they do austerities for material gain, which is temporary.
Yeah. Therefore, one should engage in bhakti, which already includes the austerities that one needs to be performed, such as when we have the four regulative principles. So there to follow those four regulative principles, there are principles of austerity, principles of knowledge. So we do that. Otherwise, we can't perform bhakti properly.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. That quite answers. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Hare Krishna.
Mataji. Very nice question. Thank you. Dear devotees, any questions or comments or realizations? Good Maharaj, I didn't understand one part of this purport. I'll share my screen again. So
Yeah.
the Vasudeva conception gradually develops in the heart of the learned after a prolonged acceleration of the receptive organ. Means,
Yeah, the receptive organs are hearing, chanting, seeing the deity, hearing about the deity, tasting Krishna Prasadam. These are organs of receptivity. So when we practice these things, then over a period of time, prolonged acceleration, and then the Vasudeva conception will gradually develop.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. So I was thinking, like many we see many devotees or myself talking about myself, or I'm seeing like the trend is we are engaged in lot many devotional activities, but not inclined towards chanting much. We want to read, participate in kirtans, to say a service, or if we get service opportunities, we'll grab them as soon as they come. So enthusiastically, so we're doing everything, but chanting is like, okay, it's like a routine. It's not so enthusiastic. So
Until you actually develop a taste for it, it becomes what we say an austerity. But there's a book out by Mahatma called Japa Affirmations.
yes,
You've
Maharaj,
seen
yeah.
it. You have the book, right?
Yes, Maharaj.
So he goes through 20 different ways that you can commit your mind to the process of chanting. And he convinces you through various aspects of the benefits of chanting. And if you read, take what I used to do when I first book came out, I used to read one a day before my japa. And then meditate on that during the japa for that day. So an affirmation is a positive statement that one makes within the mind that I will achieve this by doing this. This is an affirmation. It's not a maybe, it's a fact.
Correct.
Sometimes the people call it positive thinking. But when it applies to devotional service, it is actually the intricate principle of devotional service, so it's not separate from devotional service. So I would say read those affirmations for at least one a day, or maybe pick a couple and just study them, and you'll see. You can find it's just the mind tricks us to think otherwise. If you think the job is going to be difficult, it will be difficult. You already programmed your mind to thinking in that way, and therefore you will simply approach it as something very difficult and arduous. But if you think, oh, it's a wonderful experience, here I get a chance to associate with Krishna through his name, and let me enthusiastically chant his holy name. If you think in a positive way, you're already programming your consciousness in a way to be more receptive to the chanting of the holy name. If you think, I'm going to go to this party and I'm going to have a good time, you're eager to go. If you're thinking, I'm going to go to this party because I was invited to go, I don't want to go, I don't really want to go. So already you've projected the outcome even before it happened. We have to think in terms of that devotional service is beneficial in all aspects. You simply have to develop the right mood as you approach the activities of devotional service, especially chanting. And that book is really, really good.
Yes,
I
Maharaj.
distributed 108 of those books in about a couple of weeks. I ordered 108 of them, and I was giving them out to devotees free of charge. And devotees, I got a lot of nice responses to private devotees saying this has helped me a lot in my japa.
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah, I do remember. I started when I got that book. I started that, but again it went back into the shelf. I have to take it out again. Yeah. Thank you so much for reminding me. Yeah. Namata Mataji, you have any other question?
Thank you, Srimati Mataji. Guru Maharaj, I wanted to ask, when we were in the retreat, you told a book about 4 regulative principles, which is by Satyaraj. I tried to find that book. I'm not getting. Is there a name for that book? Can you please tell me that?
There is, but I don't have the book with me, and it's in my library in Croatia. So it's called the number 4, or the name 4 is part of the title. So all you have to do is go to Satyaraj's website and see his books and look for it there.
His name is Satyaraj. Satyaraje.
Satyaraj. Yeah.
Satyaraj. Okay. Thank you.
He's written over 30 books. 4 principles of freedom. Thank you,
Radha
Radha.
Bhakti Mataji, Krishna culture. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Radha Bhakti Mataji.
Dear devotees, any more questions or comments? Is it 21 participants or devotees online today? Maharaj, I just want to clarify one thing with you. That suppose somebody is cooking and offering to Krishna and they are not chanting. They do everything. Means they cook according to like no onion, no garlic and everything. And they offer to Krishna every meal what they cook. But they are not chanting. So that does affect the prasadam or
Well, they're a little pious, that's all.
mm.
They're not practicing devotional service. Srila Prabhupada writes in one verse in the 7th canto of Bhagavatam, where it describes the 9 processes of bhakti. He explains that all of the 8 processes must be accompanied by the chanting of the holy name. So, I mean, we're doing a little pious work, but also it's still on a material process.
Okay, Maharaj, thank you. Looks like today no more questions. Nobody is raising hands. I think everybody understood the concept well, Maharaj.
I tried to make today's class real simple, but still we're not getting any questions. What can we say? Because, you guys have to ask questions because I'm here to inspire you in devotional service. But if nobody asks us questions, that means that you're not being inspired. There's only two reasons why you don't ask questions. One, you know everything. And two, you don't know what to ask. And the reason why you don't know what to ask is because if you hear properly, two things come by way of hearing. One is that you questions will come up automatically if you're hearing properly. Or if questions don't come up, you get realizations about what you hear. And then you don't generally ask questions. So unless you realized everything that was said, or you have questions, then you weren't listening. Or you weren't listening properly. Because if you listen carefully, you'll get questions or you'll get realizations. That is the science of hearing. Or maybe we have to practice, we have to actually learn how to hear, because our minds are not able to absorb what we're hearing. No, we can't stay focused on the hearing. So practice hearing more and more.
Yes, Maharaj, yeah. Ileana Mataji, she has posted a question. I don't know. I'll read it out, Maharaj. This morning, a devotee told me when the tree is ripe, the fruit must be picked. Otherwise, if you pick it earlier, it will not be good. What do you think? She's saying about detachment, separation from sense objects.
So what does that mean then?
Yeah, even I didn't understand. Mataji, can you explain a little bit more about what you are thinking exactly?
Hare Krishna. I try. This devotee speak with me, and when the tree is have a fruit, and these fruit are mature, naturally this fruit distract, cadono, come si dice? Cadere in inglese.
Gravity?
Fall, naturally fall. But when we go to take this fruit early, this fruit is not good for the person, and is not good for the tree. Take this fruit early, prima.
Okay, I can understand the principle. So how does it apply to devotional service? So when the fruits, it's a little confusing about when you're practicing devotional service, you get certain fruits. And then you take advantage of that and then you engage in devotional service. We don't really see anything beyond that.
So does maturity come in between in this devotional service, Maharaj? That's what I think she was trying to ask. So whatever activities, like suppose, even I'm trying to understand.
Anyway, devotional service is like planting a seed in the ground and growing a tree, and as the tree grows, the fruits develop. And when the fruit is ripe, then you have love of God. But if you shake the tree and try to enjoy the fruit before it actually matures, you will not be able to do that because it's not ready to be enjoyed, and therefore it remains raw or unedible. So engage in devotional service, and your fruit of love of God will automatically ripen on the tree of bhakti.
Mataji, does this answer? Or do you have any further comments?
No, I have no comments. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
And if you get that fruit, then you can distribute that fruit to somebody else so they can also benefit.
Mm,
The fruit will be there once you develop love for Krishna. It comes automatically.
okay. Hare Krishna.
What is that fruit? You become happy. You become free from anxiety. You develop knowledge of Krishna and devotional service. You want to serve others. And these are all benefits of that fruit of love of God. You want to sing, you want to dance, you want to think of different ways to serve Krishna. These are all the results of love of God.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Mhm.
Amrita Mataji?
I'm sorry, Gumar. Is it fine if I'm asking the question again? Or
Well,
can we wait for somebody else?
You're catching up to Sri Devi, so since she's not here, you're taking her place.
No offense to Shri Mataji.
As long as your questions are sincere, not just questions for the sake of questions.
No, Gumar. I'm just. So today I read about, since Gita Jayanti is approaching, I read that Gita teaches us about, harmonizing, sorry, Gurumaj, I'll just check it again. Harmonizing with extreme opposites and extreme. So I didn't understand this quite well, Guru Maharaj. Can you help me understand this?
Harmonizing the extremes.
Gita teaches us harmonization of opposites and extreme, which mentions again the sub points are war with outside, peace within. Then second point is self growth and selfless service. And third point is fierce action but less obsession with outcomes.
Yeah. So these are all dualities, but in the devotional service, these things become harmony. Why did Krishna choose a battlefield to teach the process of devotional service? Because it's the most opposite thing we talk about to speak devotion to God during a war. So Krishna chose that just to show that devotional service can be applied to any material situation, even a battle. It can be understood even on the battlefield. Krishna did that just to show how devotional service is transcendental to all the dualities of this material world. Come on, drop it down. Come on. Don't spend all day. Yeah, so it harmonizes apparent opposites, because the material world means duality. Devotional service is not is above duality.
Okay. Thank you, Maharaj. I think that simplifies. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Scarlett Mataji, you have a question?
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all glories to your holiness and all glories to all the devotees. When we say that you shouldn't think about the outcome, just do the devotional service, but don't think about the outcome of it. For instance, distributing book is devotional service, but don't think about the outcome. Does it mean that I shouldn't think about if they read, if they have any question, if they want to go to the temple, can I take contact with them, and so on and so on?
We don't say don't think about the outcome, but realize the outcome is not based on your efforts. You want a particular outcome, yeah, but you shouldn't be attached to the outcome. Know that you're not the doer. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, you have a right to perform your duty, but you're not entitled to the results of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activity, and never be attached to not doing your duty. So you have to do your duty, and you may also project what would be the outcome when it comes to getting things done. Say you want, all right, I want to go out and distribute some books. And so I want to get as many people as possible. So you're trying to get as many people as possible. So you want to good outcome. But it doesn't mean it's going to happen just because you want it. So you plan your service in the best possible way, and you depend on Krishna. That's it.
So it means that it's okay to just distribute, but just leave it to be.
You have a desired outcome, that's all right, but you have to realize that it's not dependent on you, it's dependent on the mercy of the Lord. You have to make the endeavor. I come on here and I give a class. I would like everybody to be involved with the discussions, but I can't make that happen. But I just give my class and I depend on Krishna, I depend on the devotees. Whatever you do it, and you may also have a desired outcome, but at the same time, it's not going to necessarily mean it's going to come out the way you want it to come, or it may even come out better than the way you plan. Just do your duty and just to serve Krishna nicely. Serve Krishna by serving the spiritual master, and leave the results up to them.
Thank you.
You're cooking, and you're cooking for a group of devotees. You want the devotees to enjoy the prasadam, so you try your best to make it nice, so everyone will enjoy the results of your cooking. You want that, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen just because you want it. You have to. That would be your desired goal. So because you have a desired goal, you put your attention and your expertise in trying to make it happen.
Sorry, you mentioned about cooking, and I sometimes there is a spiritual center here that where they have restaurant, and they sell the food and they call it prasadam. But is it really prasadam, or is it just called prasadam?
I can't say. I don't know. I don't know what the situation is like. I can't really say. I don't know the cooks. I don't know the situation. I don't know the arrangements.
Okay.
Radha Bhakti, do you have a question?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisance. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories unto you. Guru Maharaj, just on Scarlett's question, maybe can you talk a little bit about why sometimes the devotees' spiritual desires may not come true? And specifically, my husband and I were recently watching Prabhupada Memories, and there are so many dreams that people have for the movement and for Krishna. And sometimes you wonder why Krishna isn't allowing some of these dreams to fructify. Can you speak a little bit more about why spiritual desires sometimes get thwarted?
The desire may not be pure, may be mixed. Mixed with one's own personal interest. And then different results will come, or no results will come. That's one thing. Or Krishna might want to teach something through the activities of your devotional service, rather giving you the results. He helps you understand some of the qualities that you need to develop in order to serve. He might be teaching you humility, tolerance, detachment. And there could be a number of reasons why things don't go exactly the way we want and planned. But for a pure devotee, Krishna always fulfills the desire of a pure devotee.
Yeah, because
The pure devotee's desire will always be fulfilled by Krishna.
yeah, I was just going to say that most of us, I have mixed intentions and desires, and I've always learned that Krishna can work with those and purify those. But yeah, sometimes you see all these devotees who want to do so many wonderful things for the movement, and the movement can spread so much more farther and deeper. So sometimes it feels perplexing. But
Sometimes it's just a matter of timing. Sometimes, although everything is in the right place, it's just not the right time for it to happen.
yeah, what I like about what you said, Guru Maharaj, is that Krishna, I think if I'm understanding you correctly, he cares more about the individual devotee's purification and return to him than he cares about a big dream for the movement. Because those
Yeah, exactly. He works only to elevate devotees closer to him, purify them, to bring them closer to him. He doesn't need our service. Prabhupada said he can make the whole world Krishna consciousness, Krishna conscious overnight if he wanted to. But that's not the way he works.
Yeah, that can be very frustrating sometimes, Guru Maharaj.
Join the club.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll stop here. And we'll continue tomorrow.
Yes,
Tomorrow, for those of you in the US, it's Ekadasi tomorrow.
Yes, Maharaj, it's Gita Jayanti and Ekadasi. Yeah.
Yeah, here in India, Ekadasi is on Sunday. Gita Jayanti is tomorrow. We're not celebrating Ekadasi in India. I don't know about, I guess the Europe is the same as India generally. So in any case, we'll be here. So we'll center more around a little bit more about the purpose of Krishna speaking the Gita.
Yes, Maharaj.
Yeah, we'll have a class centered around that.
Okay. Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Thank you, dear devotees, participating. Thank you, Maharaj, for your time and association. We look forward for your tomorrow's class. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you.
Thank you for today's class.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. All glories to Maharaj and all glories to all devotees. Hare Krishna.
Jai. Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.